Hey, how's it going, everyone? What is up? Welcome back to the channel and your daily dose of Mortal Kombat 11 news leaks and discussions. Today we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat, but more than not talking about Marvel versus Injustice and Marvel versus Mortal Kombat and whether that can actually happen in our world or not. Is that a realistic thing that could actually happen on this earth? We're going to get into talking about that in about 10 seconds. If you don't care to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video. All three go a really long way to help the channel, and I really appreciate it. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this one. So we had some, I don't know if you call them teases. It's more or less people taking everything that, anyone who who works at NRS, taking everything they say out of context. But we did get some give or take teases from Ed Boon and Derek Kirkzig on Twitter yesterday, talking about how Ed Boon would really like to see Batman versus Spider-Man, and how Derek Kirkzig would really like to see X-23 versus Melina. Now, to give some preface to this, if you guys did not know, Ed Boon has talked about wanting Marvel versus Mortal Kombat, Marvel versus DC forever, and he was actually in talks as of the interview that he did with Game Informer, the rapid fire questionnaire thing that he did with Game Informer for Mortal Kombat 11 before it released, where he said in that interview that he had been in talks with Marvel for a Marvel fighting game. Now, talking about this yesterday, I saw a lot of comments in the comments section saying how it would never be possible, how Marvel vs. Mortal Kombat would never be possible, and Marvel vs. DC would never be possible. Well, I'll give you Marvel vs. Mortal Kombat. That one is a rough one to do, especially seeing as Marvel is owned by Disney, and they are definitely a lighthearted company. They are definitely keeping Marvel very lighthearted, very minimal graphic violence or anything of the sort. So I doubt they'd ever even let characters that have been known for graphic violence appear anywhere near their characters. Now, probably, if there ever is a Marvel NRS fighting game, it'll be promoted using Mortal Kombat as well, but seeing characters from both universes in the same fighting game actually fighting each other is probably at a 0.0000001% chance of ever actually happening in a realistic world. Now, guest characters in a Marvel NRS fighting game, along the same lines as, Injustice for DC, guest characters like that would make a little bit of sense. Having, like, a character that's known for being less violent, like Johnny Cage or Cassie Cage, SONYA. One of the characters that just isn't violent and more superhero-ish, kind of like Raiden or Liu Kang or someone like that. That would make a lot of sense. But the main talking point here is everybody saying that Marvel versus DC could never happen. And I completely disagree, and I'm honestly very surprised it hasn't happened yet. Marvel vs. DC has been something that has been talked about since Marvel and DC were created. Since they became competition, Marvel and DC has always been a huge talking point of anything, and there have been crossovers between Marvel and DC in the past. There's comics out there that show the proof of that, but we've never had, to my knowledge, a crossover game that involved both Marvel and DC characters, much less a fighting game. Fighting games have become a very popular genre over the past 5 to 8 years, in my opinion. They've always been popular, but they've always been kind of like a niche popular genre. But Mortal Kombat, honestly, Mortal Kombat is carrying the fighting game genre on its back, along with Injustice, popularizing this game genre and pulling so many newcomers into it. I definitely think Marvel vs. DC, the fighting game from NetherRealm Studios, is a very likely thing that we could see happen in the next few years. Because DC and Marvel, what are they? They're companies. They're all about making money. They want to make money. They want that competition to keep them on the up and up, to keep them improving their content, what they're putting out, but they still want to make money. And what would a Marvel versus DC fighting game be? That would be money right there. The different characters that they could add, all of the DLC that people would gobble up for whatever characters they wanted to do. People who've never touched a fighting game in their life, not even for the story mode, would be buying this game. And I do think it's very possible. I think those, while they were probably taken out of context in more ways than we can actually count yesterday, the tweets from Ed Boon and Derek Kirkzig, I do believe they might actually be teases. Ed Boon has hinted and told us openly that he's talked to to Marvel about games recently, like within the last year and a half recently. And I definitely think a Marvel fighting game, in general is very possible for NRS. But I definitely think a Marvel fighting game combined with Injustice's already established backstory world with all of the characters that they've already built, I definitely think it is a real possibility that we could see that game in the next 5 to 6 years. Not even, maybe 2 or 3. I definitely think it's a real possibility, and either way, whether it's just a Marvel fighting game or whether it's an Injustice versus Marvel type thing, I'm down 100%. You can count me in, you can take my money, I want it. But that's my opinion, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope I've cleared some stuff up. It's definitely hard to get the rights, and it's definitely hard getting all these companies to want to work together. But all they have to do, really, in my opinion, is show the number of units that MK11 sold, and show the number of units that Injustice 2 sold, and then multiply that by 2 with the number of units that would be projected to sell with a Marvel vs. DC fighting game, and I think it's a done deal. Start production. But that's my opinion. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys would like to support the channel, link in the description down below to our Patreon. Huge shout out to MasterVex PC, The Thinny, Ricky Laughlin, Frank the Tank H2O, and Jay or Jordan, for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Huge shout out to Ricky and Frank for supporting on both platforms. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you guys did enjoy again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've been your host. My name is Tooten, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.